Even though a lot has been done by the government and the private bodies, there are still few challenges in the sustainability sector. Can you please highlight a few key sustainability challenges that you see globally, India, and in Odisha?
Okay.
Can you talk about few challenges you see in the sustainable sector globally?
Yeah, this is, I'm going to take a long time to say this. So sustainability itself has got three components to it. First component is first or second or third, all three components are equally important. One of them is social inclusion. Second is environment, the effect on environment or environmental preservation. And the third one is economic progress. Now, unfortunately, this has got, the balance has been lost, and sustainability has been interpreted as economic viability for a long time now, until we woke up with the climate change issues that we could feel. Now, the whole problem with sustainability as a structure itself is that it's a very slow process. The effect that we are having on the environment is very slow, so it is very difficult for human beings to grasp the problem. If you have a disaster, if you have an earthquake, or if you have a flood, it's an immediate crisis, and one can see and react to it. But like a 1 degree change in the atmospheric temperature is very difficult for us to understand that it hasn't happened, though we are all suffering from it. There are diseases, there are many other things that are happening in the environment. So first of all, since what we do not see as an immediate crisis, we do not react to it. We have the tendency of pushing it away, of saying it's not a big deal, we can deal with it later. Secondly, even if you believe and if you understand the problem, how much investment would you make here? Let us say you switched off all your lights and fans and stopped using AC for a month. Would it make a difference to the global warming? It would not. So the fact is, nobody takes the bottom line responsibility, because not one person can make the difference.
Everyone thinks that way, so it's actually not happening.
What will, if one person does this, how much difference will it make? And then nobody does it actually. Then the third is, like in management, they say if you can't measure something, you can't improve it, or you can't make a difference.
Correct.
I really don't agree to that, because all the things that really make a difference are unmeasurable. So any CSR fund that is spent, they want a measure, they want a report.
They want a report.
How much can you measure the impact? How will you measure the impact? Even carbon
footprints.
Carbon footprints, they're not very easy to measure. It is based on many assumptions.
But I think there are few parameters to measure. I'm not sure if
but they're not very easily available.
Available and not easily. I think it cannot be calculated easily or measured easily.
So if somebody spends a CSR budget and asks how much more does a person earn, it's very easily countable. How much more? Last month he was earning 5,000. This month he's earned 6,000. So 1,000 rupees.
It is not that easy to.
So it is very difficult to measure, and people are not interested in doing things that are long term. We live in a world of 2 minutes Maggie and quick solutions.
And we live in a world of convenience actually. That is very important.
Convenience, consumerism, all of these things have badly affected the ecosystem. The westernization, what we think is right, what we think is development, everything has gone wrong from the beginning, looks like.
What is consumerism?
Like everywhere you go, there are people who want you to buy something. Somebody or the other is selling something to you all the while. So there's so much of ad.
There's always a transactional relation.
Yes. So the long-term vision of having social inclusivity or taking the environment into consideration is gone. Then coming to the Indian culture, the traditional Indian culture or the indigenous Indian ways were when people thought that they are custodians of the environment. They didn't think they owned anything. You can't own a land. You can't own a forest. Okay, you were caretakers. You were service givers.
Correct.
Now the concept of money, and then concept of possession, and then concept of actually exploitation, because you have full rights. So you exploit it to the fullest extent, and that's when the ecosystem started getting into disbalance, when people thought that they own a piece of land. but the land was there even when you were not there. So you can't own a piece of land. So the challenge in India is actually lesser than the rest of the world, but ironically, the climate change issue does not affect, does not see this karma theory, if you say, like the person who creates the problem is not the person who pays for it. The whole world pays for it, and in fact, the person who doesn't create it is the one who pays the most.
Correct.
Because the most vulnerable communities are the ones who are not able to afford the means to cope with it.
Correct.
So that's the challenge within India,
Indian
I would
context,
say, in an Indian context. Odisha is a lucky state, I think, as compared to as compared to other metropolitans, and but there are
but
still,
it will not take time to reach to that bad state if we are not aware.
But the good thing is that now people are aware.
Yeah.
But now there's a game. It's like it's a race. Whether we take the steps first or the environment deteriorates faster. So I think
wins?
we will. I guess we'll meet it midway somewhere. We'll find some way.
But you're sure that it will meet somewhere. So the disaster will happen.
It's better to be optimistic.